Army Monday night here in St. Louis, the fourth episode of the official podcast for knucklejunkies.com. I'm Brett Auten, editor at knucklejunkies.com. I'm joined by always with St. Louis flyweight Dan O'Connor and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and coach extraordinaire Jon Menke. And we're here tonight. Be a special guest a little later this evening. We'll have UFC Welterweight and St. Louis and Lance Benoist on to talk about all sorts of things. And first off, we'll just kind of rehash a little bit of the weekend. It was a busy weekend in MMA. Locally, we had Shamrock Fighting Championships once again took over the Lumiere for Annihilation and had some big winners over there with Garrett Gross and Mark Godeker and Orlando Torres and Andrew Berger got a big win on the amateur end. And another local fighter, Luigi Fioravanti, ventured out to California, picked up a pretty sweet rear naked choke victory in a little over 45 seconds. And of course, on the big to-do, or on the big show, UFC on FX8 in Brazil was over the weekend. So lots going on. Guys, how was the weekend? And
well, I actually got to sit down and finally really enjoy a can everybody hear me, by the way? I don't know.
Yep.
You can't hear? Okay, cool. Okay, good. Yeah, I finally get to sit down and really just watch a UFC event front to back, and so I really it was nice for once and not constantly being run. By the way, I'm at Lance Benoist's house right now. That was the only way I could guarantee that he actually got on the show and wasn't at some random girl's apartment or on any kind of herbal tea supplements that he likes to take. Sometimes they kind of make him kind of drowsy and goofy when he takes his herbal tea supplements.
We need EJ Brooks on here to talk about my love life. I need relationship advice from EJ Brooks here in a little
Can you guys hear him? Yeah, okay. He said we want to get EJ Brooks on here so we can give him advice for his love life. Here, I'll do EJ Brooks right now. Now, see, all these white girls all the time, always trying to get up on my nuts and shit. Every girl wants to be with EJ Brooks. Like that, apparently shit happens on the side of his peripheral, and he constantly has to look at it. But his inability to keep his head straight. I'm just trying to do a Tommy Chronister. He seems to be able to do impersonation anyway. Everybody. Anyway, okay, so back to what we were talking about. UFC, it was really nice to sit down and finally get to watch one. What I will say, though, is it's nice to see that across the board, it's not only the amateurs, but it's also the professionals at the highest level that have the worst fucking judging I've ever seen in my life. Now, I wouldn't say that there were blatant robberies, but I do feel like Evan Dunham won his fight, and I feel like, oh, damn it, there was one more. There was one more. Now, I know the Paulo Thiago fight was really close, and that was a close one. But there was another one that it was damn it. But specifically that Evan Dunham fight, that was just it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like a terrible decision, but I clearly thought that the first round was close. But you could see where Dos Anjos got it, but the second and third rounds were Evan Dunham's, and it's really frustrating because he consistently gets screwed. It was rough to see Nick Lentz get all the shit that he got after his fight, but that's what you're going to deal with anytime you go to another country. There's going to be some nationalism. There's going to be, some xenophobia, and he kind of got, booed a little bit, although his opponent Diaz did finish really strong. I really felt Nick Lentz definitely won those first two rounds, and certainly Nick Lentz won the second round as well as Diaz won the third round. So essentially you have it comes down to that first round, which was definitely Nick Lentz's.
Well, and then poor Nick Lentz gets his hand sliced open, getting his wraps cut off.
Oh wow! I didn't even see that. No.
Yeah. He's probably obviously he's back in the States now, but he was after the fight, getting the cage side doctor cutting off his wraps, and got a little too close for comfort, and he's probably already got stitched up already. So his worst injury occurred. As if it's not hard enough to hop in a plane, fly to Brazil, jump in a cage against a highly trained, skilled professional fighter. You get a doctor who cuts into your hand when you're trying to get your wraps off at the end of the fight.
Yeah, that was must have been a Brazilian doctor after that ass kicking that he put on.
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. Sorry, I'm over here playing with Lance.
Of course, everybody's talking about Vitor and the kick plus the TRT.
Well, yeah, here's what people don't understand about TRT. And I think Brian Stan, if you guys want to check out Brian Stan's Twitter, he actually mentioned this. I'm sorry. The guys at Knuckle Junkies informed me that they wanted to keep this PG-13. You guys can't have a PG-13 situation with Lance Benoist right now. He literally was standing over my laptop with his nuts and ass hanging out just a second ago, and now he thinks he's fucking hilarious. He's running. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. Yeah, I totally just saw Lance Benoist balls right now. So
yeah, TRT.
Yeah, so TRT. So if you check out what Brian Stan said about it, he said, listen, I'm not shitting on anybody, but I've trained with guys that were pre-TRT and then guys that were post-TRT, and it makes a huge, huge difference. And he said, now, when we're finding out so much information about concussions, when somebody has the ability to, be bigger, stronger, faster, and they're hitting baseballs, well, that's entertaining. But when they're hitting somebody's fucking nugget and causing concussions, now you're increasing that, danger. It's the same thing of, why you want to keep, drugs out of football for that same reason. So, while a lot of people be like, oh, well, TRT didn't land that spinning kick. And it's like, right, that's right. Vitor Belfort is a very skilled fighter.
Right.
But, if you take a 40-year-old mind and with all that experience and all that knowledge, and you basically throw him in a 20-year-old body, and he's going to fuck shit up. It's like, how many times have you seen, the old guys is like, if I only knew what I know now, right, and I could go back to when I was in my physical prime. But that's what TRT does. So you're able to train harder, faster. Your muscle reflexes are quicker. Your land, you can prepare for these fights at a high level. If you put Rich Franklin on TRT, he would be in contention again. He would be pushing for a top 5 slot again. I'm not saying he would make it to Anderson, but he'd be a top 5 fighter again.
Well, you're gonna recover quicker with any type of steroids you're doing. That's the main goal of steroids. It's not just boosting testosterone. It makes you stronger and meaner. It makes you heal quicker. And
that's what you're doing right there.
You're gonna heal at such a low rate. So and you got poor fucking Pat who gets 160,000 or whatever the hell it was after a cumulative taken away from him for pot. And then you got guys that are competing on steroids.
Well, it was in that actually leads right into the next controversy that's recently come out. So you have Pat Healy loses his submission of the night, the 165 bonus. The $65,000 bonus. He loses that. They end up giving it to Brian Caraway, and then now it's coming out that there's rumors now going around. Brian Caraway was going around shitting on over everybody who does smokes pot, and it's like, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. It's terrible, blah blah blah. And now it's starting to come out, although there's no evidence yet. It's completely conjecture, but other people are stepping up saying Brian Caraway used to fucking sell steroids to everybody. So maybe not everybody, 2 people. So, but there's no proof yet. But that seems to be what he's saying. He also apparently he's got some bad press now because apparently he threw an elbow at Kat Zingano's head.
You guys may know this better than I, but is MMA the only sport that TRT is allowed?
No. Well, I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. It just depends. Now, what I can tell you about the UFC is that they don't test for HGH and they don't test for peptides. They do just urine analysis, and they test for abnormalities of testosterone ratios. So realistically, if you piss hot, then they're going to take your blood and then they're going to find out what you were on at that point. So there's a way to manage all of this where you can still
But
do this. They want to give the impression that they're really serious about cracking down. Now, I will say this: peptides and HGH are not steroid. I mean, I'm sorry, they do not work. I'm going to say they don't work nearly as well as, say, Winstrol or Deca with a test backer and stuff like that. That's when you see those guys like all of a sudden throw on X amount of pounds of lean mass really, really fucking quick.
but
But a lot of those guys, I don't have any proof of anybody except I do. Well, I do know fighters who are on. So.
don't
Um,
so don't guys like say like a Forrest Griffin or something? Do they tell the committee or whatnot beforehand? They let them know that they are taking
Well,
TRT.
they have to have before they even apply for their license. They have
Right.
to have already establish their TRT exemption. The problem with that is you can get the TRT exemption only if you haven't priorly pissed hot. So like Nate Marquardt and
Right.
Vitor Belfort can't get the exemption. So they have to fight in outside areas because they've pissed hot. They've pissed hot before. So now in fighting, you have an inordinate amount of all these alpha male types that are in just ridiculous shape, just chiseled out of their fucking minds, and they're all of them are like the 5% that actually have low testosterone in their 20s. It's one thing if you're in your late 30s or 40s and you're starting to get low T. That's a little different. But those guys who are at 30 and they have a low T, that's a result of prior drug use. And the funny thing about it is it's the result of piss poor prior drug use. That's some asshole in the gym doped them up on some shit and then didn't give them a proper post-cycle therapy, didn't have them come or have them do it properly. Because I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with TRT as far as like if you're like I mean like Brett, you're what? You're like 56, something like that.
58.
58 years old. Okay, 58 years young. There's no reason why. I mean, think about it. You got what? Maybe 10 years of life left. All I want you to do with the rest of your life is inject all kinds of testosterone into your body, go to a fucking yoga class and bang some hot ass chick,
Yeah.
Come at it, be like, listen, I'm the father figure that you always need, and now my dick is fucking hard like this right here, it's like this, it's like a goddamn baby's arm coming out there and doing it. And so that's what I try to tell my dad all the time is that he's not like, I mean, it's hilarious because my dad, crazy son of a bitch, is 60 and has the testosterone levels of 40, and we're kind of like, fuck it, just get on it anyway. Just get it on anyway. It's like you're gonna die in 10 years. I mean, there's no way my old man's living past 70.
So is it kind of does the blame kind of fall on the regulations or whatnot? I was trying to kind of find like an analogy to compare it to. It'd almost be like like a baseball player. It's like, well, you can use an aluminum bat or you can use a wooden bat, and if so it's like, so some of these guys can use the TRT, so it's like, well, you can use this aluminum bat if you want.
Right. So what you actually have to do, and see, the problem with a lot of these doctors are the same as the medical marijuana doctors, where they're kind of like, oh, what's your problem?
Right.
Oh, you got low testosterone levels. So you go in there and all you got to do is go out and party really hard. As I'm telling people how to get on TRT.
Right.
You go out there, party really hard, like really, really shitty diet, really, really no sleep for like 2 or 3 fucking days, and then party and drink a lot for 1 week. Go in there and I guarantee your test levels are going to be way down. Something else that I did miss. Apparently, Pat Healy lost his fight of the night bonus and his win bonus too. That is fucking excessive, and that's exactly why Nate Diaz got on there and said, "Hey, this is bullshit." And the worst thing is they gave his bonus to a faggot. And I'm quoting Nate Diaz right there. I'm not insulting or not trying to whatever. But he and so Dana was like, oh well, he's either gonna get fined or cut for that. Well, go fuck yourself, Dana. You called fucking you called I can't remember what her name is, Cindy whatever. You called her a cunt on a blog. So shut the fuck up, you faggot. So hey bro, I'm literally on the podcast now, and you're gonna play some drums. Oh, you're giving me rim shots. Nice. Can you guys hear that?
So you can't. So does back to my question. I mean, does the blame fall on the fighter, or does the blame fall on
it was
rules? Is he just massaging the rules, using the rules to his benefit?
You give a motherfucker a fucking rope, and he thinks he's a cowboy. The second you start to fucking try to be like, oh okay, well maybe in some of these older fighters we could see using TRT, and that would be cool because it would be great to see Dan Henderson beat everybody up forever. But then what happened is all the young guys go, oh, okay, we know exactly how to abuse the system now. So they're gonna, they really, and Dana said, I think we probably messed up and we need to crack down on this a little bit harder. So I would expect them to slowly adjust to a much stricter policy on that.
Yeah.
Well, you got guys like Bigfoot Silva who has an advanced pituitary gland that produces gigantism. Look at the size of his fucking head. He's producing HGH.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just from whatever the fuck it is, a growth or just an abnormal pituitary gland, he's almost competing with all this on him. Like he just produces it. So should it really be where guys that can't produce it anymore fight against him where he has such a high level of testosterone? I know that's almost just cheating because he just produces HGH way more than everybody else produces anything else. HGH, testosterone, what have you.
Are we gonna lower the rim in the NBA for the white guys? I mean, it's if you're given that gift, you're given that gift. Again, everybody can sit there and complain that John Jones has an unfair advantage. Does that mean that we start pumping him full of estrogen so he can be leveled out, or do we, or we force him to go up and fight heavyweights where there's several guys there who have similar reach? No, he can make 205, and now and people have to deal with 84.5-inch reach, and he's very good at using it. So it sucks. But you really can't. I mean, that is a slippery slope. What he says, you got to go with what God gave you.
Well, that's where you get in this vague, performance enhancing. I mean, Albert Pujols gets LASIK surgery. How is that not perform? Tiger Woods has LASIK surgery. How is that not performance enhancing? Those guys, their livelihoods depends on their eyes.
Right, but I don't think that's not an unfair advantage for everybody else. Everybody else has the ability to get LASIK eye surgery if they have bad eyes, and all it does is even the playing field out. If you're on testosterone, you're much better,
Well, they're within normal range is what it's supposed to be. So now, obviously, people are going to.
They're at a normal estrogen to testosterone ratio. That's different. When you take testosterone or when you're on steroids, your estrogen production increases as well, which is why you see guys that don't do it right end up with what is called gynecomastia, with bitch tits. They get the bitch tits. That doesn't come from the test. That comes from your increased estrogen. So if you're looking at a ratio and that ratio maintains 1-to-1, you could still have high levels of testosterone. It just also means that you have high levels of estrogen, which and then when you're dealing with post-cycle therapy and things like that, that's when you hear shit like David Ortiz got caught. Or no, was it him who got caught with the prenatal drugs? He was like taking prenatal drugs. Maybe it wasn't Ortiz. It was
Pedro or Manny Ramirez.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez. Yeah. And he got busted on that. But that's what that's for. And maybe that's why it wasn't the purpose, but it's why I'm so vehemently against Fox Fallon. Because the surgery that she got and the lifestyle change that she's had, and notice I'm calling her she, gives her an unfair advantage against other women, and it's unsafe for them, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
So what else? We talked about TRT. We talked about any other good fights on there. We did get to see probably the most amazing nut shot in all of UFC history. I mean, that was just wonderful. You know, he doesn't turn his head and look at him, just threw it right to his dick, right in the nuts, man. And it's Fabio Maldonado versus Roger. What is it? Holta? What's his name?
Yeah.
Something like that. Holeta?
Roger Hollett.
Hollett. I knew it was something like that. Yeah, but Fabio Maldonado shook it off and does what he normally does, which is, you know, slow first round. And it's not surprising with him being a boxer. That's pretty typical. Your first round or two at boxers, especially in heavyweight boxing, they're definitely like a warm up, you know, feeling the round out. Not to say that people don't get at it in the first round, but there's a lot of times that unwritten rule where there's a little bit slower start in pro boxing that first round. And so it doesn't surprise me that he tries to get himself warmed up that first round, or that's his main focus, is to get the fight to the second round where he's good and warm and then start putting the pressure on the fighter.
Fabio has that punch drunk look, like he's been hit a lot over the years. I mean, he's fought some high-level guys and just taken beatings and just came back. It's almost unhuman, some of the stuff that he does. But he does look punch drunk. If you watch him, he kind of has that look that you see with old boxers.
Yeah, you know, yeah, go ahead.
Well, just Dan, can you kind of give us an insider's take on a really solid nut shot? What have you ever had a good one put on you?
I've had several. Barb was the queen of them when I trained with her. I actually have a pretty good cup now, so I don't get them as often. But I've taken quite a few that when you go down, you feel sick to your stomach for a few minutes and you come back from it. I didn't know if he was coming back from that nut shot because it was so bad that it really did look like he was going to lay there and not come back, which we've seen before.
Does the cup not do its job all the time, or
no? Well, you got a couple things. The cup can shift and actually pinch your nuts. You got stuff where it comes up and clips you. I mean, they have a new cup out now, the one that's supposed to stop at 45. I don't know if I would let anybody shoot me in the dick with a 45 with it on, but Armored Nutshells has one that I hear great things about from people. I use an XO cup. Goes up your ass crack like the old Muay Thai cups did. And I can take a shot there, and it doesn't faze me too much. I mean, you get the percussion, but not the second where you get, I think I just got hit and then you go down. And that's the feeling that as soon as you get it, it likens back to every time you've been hit in the nuts, and it just is horrible. I mean, there's really no thing like it other than getting poked in the eye. I mean, nut shot and eye poke are probably the two worst things that can really happen to you in an MMA fight or sparring because they're very hard to come back from.
Well,
Yankees had the same thing happen more than once.
Producer Matt Frazier let us know that I guess a Crow Cop was actually lost one, huh? With the kick from Overeem, lost a nut. True.
I've heard the same story. So
that's crazy considering that Overeem kind of gave him shit about that. Was like, oh, he's pussing out, blah 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 blah. He doesn't want to fight. Well, that's funny.
You only got one left. You don't want to take another one. But I mean, cups are one of those things. I mean, if you go back to old Muay Thai one, it does. It's hard to spar in, because it is uncomfortable, but it does keep you from getting the nut shots. I mean, steel and carbon fiber and all that shit really does help. So.
Well, and change gears a little bit. I guess Jim Jenkins breathed a sigh of relief as Luigi went out to California and took care of business in relatively quick fashion, no damage done, and we can get our sights set forward for the June card with him and Chris Heatherly.
Yeah, Chris has been training like a madman. Hopefully it comes out and he gets to do what he's supposed to do. So he gets to showcase his talent. I know I don't think he's taken Luigi as lightly as people think because I actually see him training every day, which is usually unheard of with Chris because he does have a messed up schedule and he just really doesn't like to train. He just wants to come in and do 20 rounds of sparring, which is kind of weird he's able to do without running or lifting or anything else. So it's a freak gift he has. So
Yeah, it's good to see like Luigi get back on the horse and not only get the win, but do so without having to worry about any kind of setback or anything like that that would affect what happens on June.
true. I believe the same thing. I mean, it would have been he said he was going to retire if he can't beat that guy, or thought he was going to rethink his career and see what was going to happen. I'm really glad to see that he's going to be able to fight Heatherly and put on a good show.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'd have been bad for the card. I mean, it's me and a few other pros. I mean, it's a great card, but losing the main event would have been hard to come back from. I mean, it's going to be a big card. I mean, we got Eric Urban fighting on there, Gert Kokani, who Heatherly just fought. So that'll be a great fight. I can't wait to see Eric fight top level competition. Gert's tough, and he's gonna give Irvin a tough fight. But
you can't wait until to see Eric fight top rate competition. He's fought better competition than Heatherly has.
What I mean, he's gonna beat him though. I do think so, as opposed to having to deal with the guys he has fought and hasn't done so well against.
I'm looking forward to seeing Garrett at a this will be at a little more comfortable weight than the Heatherly fight was for him. I don't know what he and Eric are fighting at. Are they at 155?
Where Heatherly is fight? I don't think Eric and Heatherly are ever gonna fight.
No, Eric Irvin and Garrett.
Oh, and Gert 55, I believe.
Yeah, and see, I think that's more Garrett's weight than where he fought Stump at 170.
Yeah, Stump needs to get down to 55, but he's not gonna want to do it. So.
Well, and this is like, okay, so to briefly get into it, what was the level of pissiness that about my comments about Stump? Now, just to kind of air it out again, I'm trying to make the show kind of entertaining, and I haven't quite found the balance of what's too much and what's I don't want to be disrespectful, but I want to have some fun and play around. So I hope that it didn't take that disrespectfully necessarily. But with that being said, I wholeheartedly believe that that Tyron Woodley is a more experienced fighter, and when Chris gets back on here, we need to have other people on, just Chris every week. But when he gets on here, and I have no problem breaking it down to him mathematically why. Right now, and you just said the biggest tell right now, he's now just starting to train like a real fighter. Meanwhile, Tyron Woodley has trained with the best in the world for years. There's a big difference.
How about this side of the coin though, John? I mean, if it was one of your fight, I mean, would you want one of your fighters to kind of have that mindset where he thinks that that he thinks that he could beat anybody?
I want a confident fighter, but I don't want an unrealistic fighter, because an unrealistic fighter is lazy. And that's exactly what Chris has been in the past, and he's slowly now starting to be the real deal. Well, with that being said, does Chris have potential? When he got on here, I told him he has potential to be great. And so if Chris continues to grow and focus on becoming a better fighter, in 5 or 6 years, he's going to only be like 29, right? Yeah. I mean, how old is he? He's not old at all.
He looks older than he is. I'm not sure exactly how old he is.
Yeah, I don't think he's very old at all. He's not very old at all. So, he's got an amazing amount of time left in the sport, and he's just going to get better. And if he continues to take it seriously, he'll do great. What my issue? Hold on a second. Hey, Lance, you're going to have to go in the other room. It's creating an echo.
Whatever, dude.
That,
Fuck
ladies and
that
gentlemen,
guy.
was our is our guest for the evening.
Shit. So real quick, and then just to kind of
Hey,
button
where's
up
my
the
fucking face?
okay, to button up the Heatherly issue, you know, uh, don't don't let your and all I can say to Chris is don't let your legend become a fishtail. As of right now, there's the Heatherly fans talk about him to such high levels that people are waiting for him to lose. Even like casual fans are waiting for him to lose. It's like when everybody turned on Jesse Finney when he's like, "Oh, dude got his ass kicked by Josh Neer," and I was like, "Yeah, Josh Neer's a bad motherfucker, but kudos for stepping in and taking that fight." And it was the one thing that I felt like people shouldn't have given him shit about, and they did because that's what people do. There are a bunch of people that are going to wait to see you fall when shit gets too ballooned up. So again, be a legend, don't be a fishtail. And all you have to do to be a legend is to just take your time, do the best you can, and put that time into the gym. You got good training partners, continue to grow, and you'll get there. You'll get there. You know, willingness to go in there and bang and mix it up with people is a rare attribute. And then when you couple that with good training, you're gonna have a good fighter eventually. So or you know, or you're gonna continue to have a you know, develop a better and better fighter.
Without
So what's up?
without further ado, let's bring on our guest for this evening. Looks like Mr. Benoist is on the scene. UFC welterweight, St. Louis, and Lance Benoist is our our guest, and actually our first guest to get the Skype thing figured out. How's it going, Lance?
Hey, man, it's going good. Thanks for having me a part of it. Sorry I'm late. This whole technology thing is new to me. Can we say fuck on here?
You bet.
All right, good, man. The
You
kids
have
are...
a shirt that says "Speak fucking English."
Oh, that's why I wanted to clarify before we started, because maybe we could edit this part out and I'd put a different shirt on or something, man. You know what I mean? Got to
Or
keep
you could just take your shirt off. We could get some more female viewers.
John, dude, don't hit on me on Skype when we're doing a podcast show, man. I told you about that. Not in front of my friends, bro.
I've you did put your balls in my face, and apparently I hit on Sampo last week too.
Hey, sorry I was late getting on the show, guys. I had to finish up taking my TRT.
No worries, man. Hey, for those who don't know, Lance was supposed to actually be in Brazil this past weekend fighting on UFC at FX8, but unfortunate leg injury about a month ago sidelined him. How is the leg, and can you give us an update?
Yeah, man. I saw that doctor guy today. His name's Sedgwick. Basically, I've been cleared to do squats and light work, but nothing major. I'm not clear to run yet, so I can't really think about fighting if I can't run, because I probably shouldn't wrestle if I can't run yet. So another 3 weeks, but I've been cleared to do therapy, and I start rehab and all that stuff now on my own. So I don't need the crutches anymore. I got rid of those.
Why do you need to run? Why do you need to run? What are you, like, running from the enemy or something like that? You're supposed to stand in front of them and fight them. You know,
Well,
what's
I know
the purpose of
I'm
running?
a fighter, not a runner, but running is a big part of my routine that I like, and something I especially like to enjoy in my spandex, like these, during the summer. It's a fun event of mine. Mickey, lay off me, dude. Can I have fun? You don't even want me to play drums when you're on the podcast show, you dick.
The podcast show. I believe it's called KJ Live, sir.
Sorry, I'm learning. But this dude wants to live in with me and move in with me, guys, and he treats me like I'm his little brother. It's bullshit. I'm a fucking man, dude. Come at me, bro.
Shit. Shit, you better wait until you get off them crutches before you talk shit to me. I'll pull a fucking Julie on you and try to knock you off your crutches.
Dude, hey, we need EJ Brooks on here, speaking of that chick, to talk about my love life, man, because it's, guys, aside from breaking my leg and all this stuff, it's been dramatic lately, but I'm not even going to get into it.
I will. He pissed this girl so much. He got her so mad that she tried to fucking knock him off a pair of crutches.
Hey, I didn't fight Paulo Thiago, but last fight I had was my ex-girlfriend. I got my ass beat, man.
Well, speaking of Paulo, I mean, how disappointed were you know that, you know, obviously that would have been a big fight, big name.
Yeah,
obviously, obviously a fight you could have won.
You know, Lance didn't watch that fucking fight.
No, man. He's a tough Latino Mexican fighter, and to beat him on his home turf would have been. Keep a straight
Oh
face.
my god.
Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. Dude, I wanted to fight that guy so bad, and I would have beat him. I already saw it. I was determined, and people told me, oh, Paulo didn't look so good. I wish you would have been fighting him. I'm like, I don't care how he looks because I knew what I would have done to him. And there was a lot of shit that was talked. Like, I don't ever get online, read media, any of that bullshit. I just got internet at my house recently. And the one video I get online, I hear some kid. I'm like, I don't know why I kept listening, but he's like, first of all, I just want to tell you that I see a trend here with the UFC of shitty American fighters being pinned against Brazilian fighters. And I'm like, you know what? I've kind of always thought that, but I know my own ability, and I didn't think it was a setup because I know my own ability, and I had complete supreme confidence in what I could do to him. But I don't know why I listened to this fat, chubby kid talk, and then he started saying that shit, and I'm like, oh, he has something worth my time that's going to add some sort of value to my life, worth
Sorry about that.
listening
I didn't
for.
think you were going to see that.
Uh,
So leg injury. How'd you get that?
that Heatherly guy, oh man.
Wow, you're going there, Dan?
Yeah, I have to bring it up. Well,
Oh, so what, they were sparring? Do we really want to get into this? What happened while they were sparring?
Oh, I saw it. So they Heatherly wasn't wearing knee pads. They went knee to knee. So might as well bring it up since we're talking about the leg injury and we're just talking about Heatherly. Might as well bring it all together. No, I watched the sparring session. So and it was awesome to see Heatherly tested for certain.
And if Dan said that, he's immediately going to get repercussions, you're going to have 8 people fucking text you and be like, "How dare you say that Lance tested Heatherly?"
Heatherly will tell you.
Man. Sid G was there, coaching both parties, so unbiased. It was fun. I mean, I've heard a lot of hype about Heatherly, and I wanted to see if he lived up to it. And let's be realistic. I was Heatherly, however many years back. Time flies, but I believe times have changed, and it's kind of like that, almost that pride thing of that old generation. Like, I was the first guy to come through the sort of scene here in local MMA, and it's like, it's a pride thing. And if I wasn't where I was, I'd be competition to Heatherly. So yeah, I wanted to test him and see if he lived up to the hype, and we went after it. And it was awesome. I'll do it again tomorrow. But I sustained a injury in the process of it, and it's one of those things that happens a million times in training. But the doctor said it's like a reoccurring trauma, and it's just built up over time. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't even know it was broke. I just kept training.
Here's my issue is the fact that we're in a position now where guys like you can't train with Chris Heatherly because of everybody's fucking fan base talking so much fucking shit and everybody running their mouth. Meanwhile, Chris is trying to get in the fucking UFC. Lance is trying to continue to stay in the UFC. Tyrant's wanting to be in the UFC. We've got Jake Collier's around that weight. We also have Andrew Sanchez. Why aren't all these guys training together?
Rice House.
Well, Rice House is a bit smaller than you guys. That I meant around the same size, like within a weight class or two of each other. Rice House is going to 45. He's got his own group of guys, the Freemans, the Irvings, the Gertz,
all right, you alpha mailed me. You're right. Sorry, right?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. These guys need to be able to work together to get to the next level. It's a, together we stand united, we fall kind of situation. Yeah. And it's like, there's no way that if you only have 1 or 2 training partners and they're 2 weight classes away from you, are you really going to be able to go on to the next level? So, or I should say, you could make it to the next level, but be able to maintain that. But people are too busy wanting to run their fucking mouths. Okay, and I'm gonna fucking throw this out there. Did some of Heatherly's fucking friends try to talk shit to you while you were on crutches at fucking Pops a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, that's a true story. But
so, yeah, dude, that shit needs.
Well,
to
I mean,
stop.
that's fans, and that's who gives a damn about fans? I mean.
Well, okay, when Lance is on fucking crutches and these fucking cocksuckers are trying to get threatening with him, I guarantee you, motherfuckers, because I know you're listening, do that shit in front of me. Do that shit in front of me. I will fucking make sure your fucking jaw is wired shut.
Hey,
I don't care who the fuck you are. So, Chris,
Yeah. Hey, I try to
at the
tell
end of this,
everybody.
Chris, this is, man, I know it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But, you know, you got to talk to people about that kind of fucking bullshit. When people, I know they're happy and I know they're proud of you, and they fucking should be. They should be proud of you. But
I
taking
agree.
that to, like, your best sparring partner, a guy who could be your best friend, and attacking him or insulting him is a fucking issue. It's an issue. It shouldn't happen.
Who the fuck said it, and what did they say?
Oh man, it's an
let's
interesting story,
let's talk about Lance. Let's keep it about Lance. How about that?
man. It was just it's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but ironically enough, I've maintained and have a good relationship with Chris's sister, and was hanging out with her one night, and I'm in the bathroom of all places. I'm hanging out. I never hang out there, and it was just one of those nights that I met up with a friend because I had nothing else to do, and better than sitting at home feeling sorry eating a fucking tub of ice cream. So I was there, and I'm just taking a urinal. I'm just taking a whiz. Regular Joe Smo comes up to me, starts talking, and then another guy interrupts our conversation when he realizes we're talking about MMA, who is a big Stump fan. Big Stump fan. Oh yeah, have you heard of Chris? Well, he's 5-0 as a pro and hadn't beaten anybody. I'm like, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's really cool. You know, hey, I was 5-0 as a pro and finished everybody in the first round, my first 5 professional fight. Whatever, I don't care. That's good. I'm glad you're a Heatherly fan. But then it got borderline insulting when it was like, hey, man, I know you're hurt right now and everything, but I'm just letting you know that if things went down, I wouldn't be afraid to swing on you. And I'm like, I look at Chris's sister. I'm like, I'm confused by this. I don't understand what this guy's trying to say to me. But I tell people, back to what Minky was saying, I warn them all the time. Hey, I know a lot of dangerous motherfuckers, way more dangerous than me. I have a laundry list of friends in my phone book of dangerous people who will do anything for me, and I them. Don't. They're so stupid, John. Everybody. They're so
Yeah,
stupid.
and this is not Chris's fault. I am a Stump. The funny thing is, I'm a fucking Stump fan.
Me too.
I don't like the inappropriate. That this is what really got me pissed off about this whole thing was this story with Lance, and it's like apparently it just happened again where Clay Mitchell. Bo Kuntz is about to get up in that ass, so Clay, so Bo's fighting for. Did he hit Heatherly's brother?
That's the story I heard.
I
So when I was
guarantee you that happened about so and so's better than this guy. No, fuck you. He's better than this guy. And then dudes started swinging at each other. This has got to stop, man. These are pro fighters, and they don't deserve this kind of crap. You know, this is bad.
and it's gonna put a stain
Lance,
on all of those guys too. So I mean, Heatherly's not the one doing that. Heatherly's not gonna.
Oh hell no, he's not. No, he's not.
But
No, he's not. But
him-
I think he has the ability to influence those people, and I think he has those ability to say, "Hey guys, this is going to make me look bad in the long run, and this is going to hurt my chances of getting on the next level because he needs guys like Lance to help him. You know, he needs guys like Tyrant, guys who have fought in front of 17,000 people. When Chris has a fight in front of 17,000 people where his nose is fucking broken and the guy's trying to armbar him, and his response is to spit blood in the guy's face and then continue to fight him. That is what you need to be a champion, and Chris is going to get there. I believe he'll get there. Different weight class, but I think he'll get to the UFC for sure.
So Lance, let's kind of go back a little bit.
Yeah.
At what point in your career, like when you're an amateur or whatnot, when did you realize that you were pretty good at this?
You know, it's funny, but everyone has those fears. You know, they want to doubt themselves. That I expect so much of myself, but I believe in my ability. I would doubt myself all the time, only to then prove myself wrong. I would make a monster out of the man I was about to fight, and I've matured, and I don't fear that at all anymore. But I used to put these people on a pedestal and time again and downplay what I did and always question my abilities and the things that I had success in, only to constantly prove myself wrong and surprise myself. Like, man, I thought Cleburne Walker at 9-5, my second professional fight. You know, he had all that experience, Ultimate Fighter show. I know how it looks on paper, but it never fails. I'd prove myself. I'd be like, man, I handled that dude like yesterday's dishes. Or I'm just saying.
Was that the kind of turning point when the confidence kind of?
Right.
kind of rose.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm supremely confident in my ability now, and almost dangerous point. But this time off has been really good for me. Injuring my leg, it's almost been a blessing in disguise. I had to believe things happen for a reason, but I it's given me the time to respect, to sit back and reflect and think about my sport, the sport of MMA, and reflect about it. I haven't taken 2 weeks off of training since I was 17 years old. So it's given me the time to think about my sport that I love so much, that is my career, that I have taken for granted. I've taken it for granted.
Lion son of a bitch.
I swear, man, I've been lazy.
If you come in and you've trained just as fucking hard right now as you did for your last 2 fucking fights.
Dude, I've been training my finger on this on Xbox.
I know you're actually fucking really good.
I am. I need to find Matt Riddle, man.
Brett
Riddle needs a job. Riddle, Lawrence.
No. Bellator picked him up.
Dude, I'm depressed. Bellator got Lawrence.
No. Bellator got Riddle.
Oh, well, there you go. But man, I'm depressed. I'm a control freak in my future and everything. I'm so eager to get back to it, but it's really at an uncertain point. Everything is uncertain. Things could change tomorrow. But you have a
massive chip on your shoulder. You're a complete nihilist, and you just want to watch the world burn.
Amen.
And you don't train for shit. You train for 4 or 5 weeks.
I do train. You want to go right now, dude? Fucking.
Oh my god.
Black belt, fucking fake black belt. That.
Tell me about I love her.
It's went to anarchy.
I think I'm pregnant.
All right, you see what happens when you talk shit, and a doctor says I don't have to be on crutches anymore, motherfucker.
Where were you when when Heatherly's boys were up on your ass? You fucking bitched out from them.
I don't know what you're talking. Boys, one of them. And Heatherly fans you got to watch out for those fans, man. Bad publicity, it happens, but I don't have any ill will.
So can you tell us about bad publicity, Lance? Some of your heated comments on Facebook and.
Oh, don't get me started, man. You're gonna get me on a rant. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth.
You don't want Daddy to tell you no.
Let's go back to good stuff. How about September 2011, man? I mean, your very first fight, Matt Riddle. Not only a tough guy. You get the win. You get the fight of the night. Dana White. I dug out the tweet. It was that kid's gonna be good.
Yeah. Man, I believe it.
Just when you look back on that, just what are your thoughts on that first?
Man, it's kind of crazy.
You believe Dana White's tweet that you're going to be good someday?
Do I believe that?
Yeah. Do you believe that someday you're going to be good?
I am good. I don't need.
By what measuring stick?
Who said what is good? Good by whose standards? I'm good.
You're good.
Do you want me to come back?
You're good for DeSoto, Missouri.
Do you want me to come back in there?
No, I don't. I got your dog hostage. So tell me what it was like. What was your experience when they said, after the fight and you heard your name, announced as, winner by decision?
Man, I worked so hard to like the gratification you get when you work so hard for something. And did it live up? Did it live up to the hype, or did it live up to everything that you thought, or was it surreal? Yeah, absolutely. But the whole experience goes by so fast, and I'd give anything to go back to it. It was awesome, and I'm going to recreate that and then some, that feeling again, because it's a high and you can't explain it. But I'd give anything to go back
to that night.
Oh yeah, man! Everything involved with the whole situation, it definitely lived up to the hype. But for months on end, training and preparing for that fight every night before the bed, I couldn't sleep. I'm obsessed about it. That's all I would think about. So to finally come to that climax, that pinnacle point, and then come out on top, especially in the fashion I did, it was as supremely rewarding as I can't picture anything. I hope I can top that in my lifetime. I do.
Yeah,
I will.
And then then your next fight with Seth Basinski, kind of I know. I know. For just kind of talk about that. It was kind of a cool move, I thought, but that kind of that leaping arm triangle you tried.
Yeah,
If that thing would have connected and you would have submitted him, that definitely kind of would have fell. I would have think in like one
I
of
know, man.
they
You
had like the
know,
subs of the year or like a strength
right,
of highlights. Just I mean,
right.
I
Man, I've had so many of these like what ifs, if that could have only have happened, if oh that was so close, and it's really frustrating. You don't ever want to leave anything. You want it all to go your way, but that's part of life. But that move is something I work in practice, and I've hit it before on people. It's just like a kind of a feel thing. If you feel the arm on your shoulder when you slip the punch, it's like it's right there. But
it
yeah,
looked it
props to
looks cool
Seth.
as hell.
Yeah, it was kind of fancy. It looked fancy. I swear it's not that fancy, but it looked fancy. But props to Seth. He defended well. That guy's been on a tear. Tough dude.
Well, he's the last guy to beat Matt Brown, and now Matt Brown is fucking annihilating dudes.
I love
So
to fight Matt Brown.
And
Duh.
that Basinski fight was weird in that you had the two knees and you didn't get the but you didn't get the points taken away, right?
Yeah, it was really frustrating, and I don't ever want to whine and pour me and make excuses for me, but the judges of Florida were terrible. I've never seen a state that claims to be able to run MMA that has their head so far up their ass. I never wanted to fight or compete in the state of Florida again. The things that it was so embarrassing. The UFC had to personally apologize at the end of the night. Like, they're so stubborn down there. They're the only place where the refs like aren't no regular UFC referees. And the refs were yelling at people not to stop putting their feet up on the cage and kicking off the cage, like when you're on your back. Last time I checked was not against the rules. Just completely, just where were we? Twilight Zone. And I'm not blaming any ref for my fight or for my loss because that's ultimately on me, but it damn sure didn't help my case any. And the judges, another one, don't get me started on that. If you want to dig up you got the Brett, you got the judge cards on that one?
Not handy, but
Man,
what?
one judge 30-27 me, the other two 29-28.
Yeah.
Thought I lost two. Like, were you there watching the same fight? How far does it get so far apart, man?
What I was
Split
asking though
decision.
is that you almost or you'd think with you got warned with the two knees and usually you get a point taken away from that, but a lot of people are like, how come how come you didn't get a point taken away? But I guess that just kind of goes into shows how screwed up everything was.
Man, and you
because
want to,
because Basinski, that was karma coming back on Basinski for his fucking fake tap bullshit against Tim McKenzie. Y'all can look that up on YouTube. He fake taps out of an armbar, and then when McKenzie's confused and kind of like, wait, what's going on?
let's
Basinski
go.
jumps up and fucking drills him 3 times and knocks him out. So like most of the people that were like, I was watching it. I was watching kind of the live updates or on the underground forum where people were chatting about the fights, and they were kind of like, "Good, fuck him, he's an asshole." That was kind of like the thing. But I think if you saw, obviously, it wasn't Lance's better fight. He was very distracted,
Yeah.
and other
Well,
issues prevented everything.
yeah, and I'll never go back to the poor me. It's all on me. I'm not blaming anyone, but I mean, and I could sit around and feel sorry for myself and say, oh, UFC's fucking me. They haven't thrown me a bone yet. Riddle to start off the bat. I took the fight with Basinski 2 weeks after my identical twin was killed. I mean, most guys would probably pull out of that fight.
Right.
Uh, I took the fight against Pearson on like 2 weeks, and now I'm fighting for my job at 24. Like, man,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna get started. I ain't gonna
Well,
get started.
The Pearson fight was a
the
winnable
Pearson
fight,
fight,
though.
yeah, especially the third round. I mean, kind of take us. I mean, you were so close.
Yeah.
A big left hook and damn near submitted him, right?
Right. Well, I literally knocked Pearson out. I mean, that's why he hasn't fought for so long, because he was literally giving a suspension for being knocked out. And I watched him go limp. I watched his eyes roll back in his head. And the ref, I still kept doing my job, what anyone would do in the situation. And the ref never stopped it. And props to him. Somehow he scrambled free from my barrage and made it back to his feet. I mean, props to that guy, tough SOB. And
And
I could admit when I lost. I'll give it to Pearson. I thought I won the third round.
Yeah, and then didn't you almost have did you have a pretty tight submission? Right,
I had his back for a moment there in
Yeah.
the end, but it was so slippery. He defended
Yeah.
well, scrambled out, and got back to his feet. And I thought it was close, but he did the right things and he did just enough to win. It took me a little too long to figure that guy out. His style's goofy. He's a southpaw. He's a southpaw. He had been training a full camp. There's other things I struggled with throughout that camp that a lot of people don't know about, personal stuff. Not saying feel sorry for me or making excuses. It's all on me, but there's a
It's
lot of things people don't quite see that goes on, and now here
Yeah,
I.
well, it's been a very very rough year and a half for Lance, and people don't realize it because he still goes out there and gives amazing performances, and he actually had the ability to beat, like if he would have fought, like if they could have just reset the fight over again, and Lance knew what he knew by the third round, he would have beaten Pearson, and it really wasn't. I mean, like his training for that fight was not there. Obviously, it was a short notice thing, but his training was not there. And all he said was he walked into that third round and he goes, you know what? I'm done backing up, and that was it. And you can
And
see before that overhand right, or I'm sorry, overhand left landed. Lance was it wasn't completely lopsided, but Lance was still getting. It wasn't that one punch that landed. Lance was getting the better of him. Lance was winning that round because he goes, you know what? I'm just not going to back up anymore, which is kind of what I've been going back to what I've talked about the last couple of weeks. Is man, like when a fight starts right here, up here. It's not about like I mean, there's a lot of guys that aren't as technical or that are technical that can't put it together because they cannot get their brain where it needs to be. And I think that right there which is why I was excited about this Paulo Thiago fight because I thought that right there, Lance finally got okay, this is where my head needs to be to go out there and win fights.
yeah,
And
no, I agree with that, and I can tell those of you out there that I've matured so much about all that, and I promise I haven't done my job in the past as a professional athlete and as a competitor. I have not done my job in the past. I've allowed people who I rely on to get away with not doing their job because I wasn't doing mine, and no more. I'm accepting responsibility for my actions, for my job, for my career, for what's at stake, and I'm on top of it. And I've been kind of the gopher, the guinea pig a lot in the sense that. All this stuff is kind of new to me, new to my coaches, and like anything, you learn from your mistakes and you refine your technique and you master your and perfect your tweak your craft. And I'm smarter about the training camps. I'm smarter about what it is and what it takes to do the right things. So from that standpoint, I've matured immensely, and I move forward with great optimism about what is to come. And this whole injury thing is really going to be a good thing for me. By the time I come out on the other side of it, so stay out of my path, everybody.
what kind of advice could you give young fighters? What kind of advice would you give, like say young fighters, and then what kind of advice would you give fighters that are really up and coming and on the cusp, like like definitely like a Jake Collier or a Chris Heatherly, and what kind of advice would you give young fighters, say like maybe like an Alex White or or maybe a Shane Moffat?
For the young fighters, stay in school. For the fighters who are on the verge of breaking out, no, I'm just joking. Um,
So quit
honestly,
school.
honestly, it kind of the same thing applies. Whether the goals are all the same, it all obviously it depends on what your goals are. You want to be the weekend warrior who just wants to have a few beers and tell his buddy, "Hey, I fought once or twice in my life," and talk about how cool you are in the glory days. Cool, that's it. But for the guys who are serious about it, the best advice I can give, and this is something that's taken me some time, and I've learned the hard way on is management. I'm telling you, everything boils down to it, and but that's a tricky one. See, that's the tricky one. That's the hard thing. Finding honest, good, true management out there in this game is not easy, and I mean, a manager is everything. That's what your career is runs off. And if you don't have that, or you don't have the right backing, or people pushing you and selling your brand and getting you out there, your career will not flourish. So everything starts from there. I mean, you got to link up with the right people who have the right connections, who someone you can really trust, and it's very tricky to do. But if you're on the verge of breaking out and you want your career to do anything, especially in this day and age, you better align yourself with some proper management, and it may cost you a little bit of money, but do your homework, do your research, and align yourself with the best educated decision you can make to management. Because I'm telling you, in the end, my career suffered because of management, and that's mainly my own fault. I'm not holding anyone responsible. I have great people who work their ass off for me, but my career has suffered due to a lack of management and people not pushing me and doing the right things. And that's something else that I'm awake to now, more mature about, and accepting the responsibility for. Look, I'm sitting in my house with internet, used to not have it, and I swear it's not just for Xbox. It's so I can be responsible and do things like this and do my job.
It's also the reason that I moved in with him.
Yeah. That's all you can cook and clean, bro.
Your house is really clean anyway. I will grill you some.
buy
I
you
will
a-
grill you some steaks, man.
You better buy you a fucking apron. You better have steak ready every night.
Man,
Hey, I say break
you better not be upset when you come home from fucking training one day and your fucking girlfriend's banging me.
Hey, she's not into Neanderthals, bro. You actually have to manscape yourself and look pretty like me, not stealing EJ's shit.
Shit. Woo.
If you want to get some my girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend, man. Don't Julie. I mean, not naming names. My ex could be listening to this. Don't say I have a girlfriend, man. She might show up again and kick my ass when I'm on. Well, I'm off crutches now, so.
Why are you saying you don't have a girlfriend? She's actually in the room with you.
No, my dog's in there with you.
Oh no, I was just trying to get Julie pissed. I seriously doubt she's listening.
Hey, I think Brett should break out that mandolin on the wall back there, which I know he knows how to play, and I'll go get on the drums, and you can just suck it. Then we'll play. We'll call Tommy up, and we'll have
He
Tommy
can come sing.
sing impersonating someone. I don't know. I think we got to get Justin Lawrence on here. I want to talk to that guy. I gotta call him.
Your phone's out here, bro.
Shit, man. John's
Lance,
also my secretary. John's gonna be my secretary when he moves in. He's gonna to file my papers and answer my phone calls and do business for me. He's gonna be my therapist as well. John is very good. He pointed out one of my character flaws last night, so I gotta thank the guy because I recognize things about myself that I wouldn't readily see if it wasn't for the good people I surround myself with.
Hey, John. In all seriousness, take us back. I mean, when Lance was just starting out, like you're around in the circles, those early whatever St. Charles MMA days. I mean,
No. Festus. Yeah, Festus. We both went to the same high school. I'm a couple years older than him. I started teaching. Motherfucker.
But was he always the like? Did people think that hey he's going to do something or was he always the for lack of a better word the star pupil or I mean just take us back to like way back and was Lance always like people thought that he would excel and do well?
Well, okay, so at when we first got started, when Lance was first started fighting, there wasn't. I mean, there were shows, but it was right before. I think Cage Championships was like maybe 5 or 6 shows in, 5 shows, something like that. So there was a limited number of people, and the Kansas City scene had already been quite a bit more developed as far as number of shows, number of people fighting. So we were just starting to really branch out and have more and more people fight. So again, it was kind of hard to gauge at that point. A lot of guys that were just starting to take fights had been training for a couple years. So it was really kind of hard and we look at Lance and we're like, okay, this kid's good and he could be very good. As a coach and as my, as my views on fighting and how to train fighters has changed immensely since training, working with Lance when he was like 17 years old. But, he's always been an aggressive kid, and he was willing to get in there and throw down and go with adults and had no hesitation about it. And that willingness to get in there and do the work was, we pretty much knew that he would do just fine. He first started out, he was down at Hans MMA. At that point, they had really nobody there for him to really be training with, other than like rolling with me, rolling with a couple other guys. Since then, they've they have a couple of fighters now that would, there'd be people that Lance could train with. But at that point, I mean, they were a couple of years away from those guys showing up. So Lance ended up following when I left Hans. I stopped teaching there. He kind of just said screw it and went up and joined Boggies with and then continued training with me. At that point, he had a bunch of people that were a lot more experienced in jiu-jitsu and things than he was. So he had competition at that point. He had people to train with. How close before, like at that point right there, how close were you to going to Burgers instead of Boggies, Lance?
I was never close to going to Burgers.
I know, because even I was like saying, hey, dude, if you want to be an MMA fighter, we don't really have. This was before Mike had
you were actually encouraging it, because at the time there wasn't.
I was like, we didn't really have anything. Then all of a sudden, Mike got his program going. Once Mike Rogers got the SCMMA going, dude, that was a game changer. That was a game changer. The level in St. Louis fucking skyrocketed at that point. I got all those tough ass wrestlers involved in MMA. And
all the Lindenwood guys would
all those Lindenwood guys, yeah, it was great.
So Lance, I mean, you still go to a lot of local shows and stuff.
I try.
Yeah, tell me, just from two aspects. Well, what has changed? As far as from back in the day to now, as far as what goes on.
Do you want my fake answer, or do you want my honest answer?
I've not finished the question yet. What how things changed in just inside the cage, as far as the fighters, the talent, how the fighters changed.
I'll tell you
today, as opposed to say 6 years ago, or
well, let's just skip all the bullshit. It fucking sucks. It's about 20 times worse than it was 5 years ago. Oh yeah. And I expected to slip another. It's fucking embarrassing. I'm going to be honest with you. It's fucking embarrassing. And I can't stand to make it to a lot of local shows, to be honest, because it makes me sick to my stomach. I want to barf.
I would think it would be better, but it's not, huh? It's not
no matter of fact, thinking about it right now,
and you can see, too, with the video from...
He's puking, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so... to add on what Lance is saying, you got to realize that when something first becomes popular, and I was mentioning this, the guys that really broke out originally as the amateur fighters in the area, and I'm not talking about like the old school, I'm not talking about Mount Rushmore of St. Louis MMA, I'm not talking about Berger and Ventimiglia and a couple of those other guys. They're the Mount Rushmore of MMA. They're the Jermaine Andre, those guys. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about after that. I'm talking about when the amateurs came in, when the Lance Benoist and the Jay Collars and Matt Ricehouses, Josh Westons came up. And so when they had already been training, they had background and whatever. And then they decided to go, hey, let's do this MMA stuff. And they trained for a while before they fought. Whereas then as it gets popular, these guys move on. And then the people who filled in got into MMA because they were watching them, because they were watching their TV, and they went right out there. And some of them maybe only have trained, 4 months, and then they go out there and take their first fight, much like amateur boxing. So what happens? At first, the level is going to be shitty, but then things are going to get so big where there's going to be so many people out there fighting and so many people out there doing stuff that you're going to start getting more and more talented people, because you're just adding a larger test group, essentially. So you have, statistically, you're going to end up with a lot better fighters. And as it gets more and more developed, eventually it'll get there. Eventually it'll catch up with the numbers, and the talent will be there a little bit more. And our circuit around here will be much more developed, and we'll get back to to that point with the talent.
Yeah, I hope you're right, man. It's oversaturated. It's like every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to jump on the popularity of the sport of MMA. So it's like there's a different promotion every weekend. You can't even fucking keep up with half the shit now. and it's disgusting. And I hope you're right. I hope it thins out, but it's like it's so just oversaturated now because the popularity
It'll
is
find
so
balance. It'll
vast.
find balance. The saturation levels will find balance to what the market will support because people are not going to go in and produce shows if they can't make any fucking money. So if
Right,
they
and I'm
keep
not.
not making money, they're not going to do it. My main issue with the oversaturation is that the talent then gets spread too thin, and then guys, we don't see talented fighters fighting each other.
Right.
They miss each other because shit, I'd like to fight this guy, but I already got this fight 2 weeks prior to that at this time. So we do miss some of those matchups. That's the one bad thing, but it will find balance. It's like the market will govern itself.
I
Oh shit, Dustin Severs got pissed off. I just made a comment about free market ideologies.
Yeah, man, I'm embarrassed to even talk about MMA anymore. I just tell people I like jiu-jitsu. I do jiu-jitsu. I like to compete jiu-jitsu because, man, you can't even talk about MMA around this area now. I'd be like, oh yeah, my cousin Joey's friend so and so does UFC. Dude, suck a dick. I'm sorry. I'm glad you support it, but that's fucking insulting. Don't ever let that fucking next shit that comes out of your mouth better be some brilliant Mark Twain shit because it's definitely getting etched on your tombstone. And I
So
feel that from that movie.
well, it reminds me of something fucking Robbie Lawler did to a friend. I guess he was talking to Fiore and Mark Fiore, and he was like, oh yeah, hey Robbie, this guy's a fighter too. And the guy that he was actually talking to had like 15 fights and was a good fighter. Robbie was just looked at him and walks by. He goes, yeah, everybody's a fucking fighter, and walked
Amen,
off.
Robbie.
And I kind of get where he's coming from. He was a little mean, but I get where he was coming from. The yeah, it's obviously it's frustrating, but then at the same point is, are you really pissed off? Like, I mean, if you got to come up and see, a professional baseball player, and you were like, yeah, I love baseball. I hope that someday I can play at that level too. I play in high school or something like that. Is that necessarily insulting, or is it admiration? Do people try? Are they trying to get your are they trying to disqualify? Because there's two separate things. There are the people that go, "Oh yeah, I'm into that too," because they want your approval, or is it they're trying to disqualify what you do and you've done that. Oh well, I know this guy, you know. Yeah, okay, like they're trying to shit on it. It was like I don't understand how talent or skill or credentials can be passed via knowing somebody. But again, that's that. I mean, people like to do that kind of stuff, and it is what it is.
Well, Lance, that brings up something. Are you, when you go out in public and shit, are you actually just trying to avoid anybody talking about MMA and bringing up that you're an MMA fighter, so you don't have to talk about guys getting in fights in 8th grade and shit like that? I know a lot of other fighters that do the same thing. They just pretty much tell people they're personal trainers, or
Yeah.
they bartend or what have you.
Yeah, I personally try to avoid public in general, like a bad case of herpes, but it's just public is not me.
Which he
People,
hasn't avoided.
dude. Um, but no, yeah, preferably if the topic of MMA can be avoided. I realize we're all here to talk about that specifically, but I wish we could just switch and start talking about video games, girls. I don't know, but no, yeah, the sport, just the topic, and every now and again, though, for every 9 out of 10, 9 fucking idiots I meet, I'll meet one person who knows their shit and is refreshing to talk to because they have somewhat level of intelligence about what filth they're letting seep out of that excuse for a mouth called a sewer. But it's yeah. To answer your question, I avoid it. I avoid it, man. It's bad. People, and I try to be polite about it. I do because they are fans, and if it wasn't for fans, we would not. What I'm doing wouldn't even matter. We wouldn't be sitting here talking if it wasn't for those idiots. But they're fucking idiots. And do your research, please. If you're gonna talk about something or claim to know anything about anything, do do your homework before you talk about it. That's all I say. But everyone knows everything. Everyone's right.
Now I can kind of see your guys' point from like an amateur standpoint as far as the oversaturation. But like when you look around and you see kind of the local pros, the Alex Whites, the our own Dan O'Connors, the Jakes, the Colliers, the Freemans, the Sampos, it kind of goes on and on. It seems like from a pro level, St. Louis has these guys that it's pretty wealthy, pretty substantial from the kind of up and coming pro standpoint.
Oh yeah, which is exactly why we don't need to be talking shit about each other, and so we can all work together to get these guys fucking $1 million, and then maybe you throw a couple of bucks your buddy Jon Menke's way.
So I mean, would you guys say that? I mean, from a pro standpoint, that maybe St. Louis is doing okay. It's just maybe the amateur is just too much.
In my opinion, I agree with you. And to kind of revert back to what you were talking about a little bit, I'm not saying there aren't talented amateurs out there on the circuit right now, because there is most certainly talented amateurs, but not many. And there's a lot of pretenders, a lot of weekend warriors who just, to be honest, need to get the fuck out of the way and quit wasting everyone's time.
Well, and that's why we kind of like. I mean, that's why I like, focus on the pros. I mean, that's the ones I care about or want to write about or talk about or
I totally agree. Let the amateurs fight their way to attention. They have to make waves before they get attention. They don't get attention because they've been fighting shitty guys and they've amassed a 5-0 record.
Hey, I want to jump back real quick too to what John said, and the reason I don't talk about MMA and bring it up is because people literally start to compare themselves or their friends to me, and to be quite honest, I'm somewhat proud of what I've done and what I have accomplished, and don't you ever fucking compare yourself or your friend to me ever. I've worked too hard to be good at what I do, and I'll be happy to show whoever wants to test that I am fucking good at what I do. And it's a pride thing, and it's no disrespect to them, but do not compare yourself, your friend, your fucking whatever to me ever. And it offends the fuck out of me. And it's sad I can't talk about what I do because I should be proud about it, but this is the nature of the beast, baby.
I bet Dan gets it really, really bad because of being a flyweight. They're probably like they instantly size you up and want to compare. Some fucking asshole that played high school football that's now fucking 12 years past his prime. Those guys that fucking peaked in high school. God damn, you can't even legally buy beer and you've already fucking peaked. But those guys that size him up and they're like, I don't know if I could fucking take you. Yeah, go fuck yourself, man. Do you really want to walk out of here with a fucking limp after Dan fucking breaks your fucking knee with a heel hook?
I get my girlfriend's bigger than you all the fucking time. It's one of the big things. That's what I was kind of bringing up. My wife works in a bar, and I beg her to not bring up that I do MMA because every fucking time I go in there, I have to hear I beat up a guy in 8th grade or stupid ass stories you really don't want to hear about. And you're sitting there trying to enjoy a fight or have a drink or anywhere you go, you're going to deal with fucking idiots that want to talk about fights. And I mean, it's not just fans. It's going to be somebody that has been watching. I used to watch it when it was Pride. You're going to hear idiots just come and trash the sport. And it kind of ruins the entire night. You almost just want to smash these guys.
I might actually stop and talk to somebody that was like, oh yeah, I fucking used to love Pride. Okay, maybe we can talk. Maybe that's old school enough, You
get a lot of idiots that still they rented a video here and there, and they didn't watch all of it, but they watched the one Pride fight on the fucking rerun or some shit.
Oh yeah. So you can always just hit them with just a ridiculous amount of knowledge and facts, where like they'll mention somebody, and I usually keep up with most people. So like when somebody like I've had this happen. Actually, it was regarding like Jake Collier. People would like talk. Well, they'd be like, "Hey man, what do you think about him?" I literally would go into such an in-depth analysis of what he needs to do to get to the UFC and what he's doing great and what maybe he should look to do in the future. I would get in such an in-depth analysis, and I would talk as fast as I fucking could, which you guys know is pretty fast. And and I would just be so intense about it. People would be like, "Oh, well, it was nice meeting you,"
Yeah.
and
Their eyes
just
glaze.
yeah, they glaze over. Speaking of glazed over eyes,
I got glaucoma.
So how long you think you're out, Lance? Or
Oh
fall?
man, nothing,
out of the closet.
nothing can keep me down.
No, I
No.
mean, you think maybe the fall? Back?
Yeah, the sooner the better. I want to
Yeah,
get
this
back to it, man. I
interview
was
doesn't
so
get him
ready to
fired.
go. I just want to know. I'm just ready to do it, man. I'm ready to get it. I want to reach that goal, that outcome. I'm ready to have it here, have it over,
What's
and
the goal?
decide. Dude, the goal is to continue to succeed in what I've already invested an extreme amount of my life into, and would be foolish not to push it or take it as far as I can. And
How old are
almost
you now, Lance?
disrespectful and insulting to people I care about.
Is
How,
it
how
is
old
this
are
is it crazy? I mean, what you're like 24, right?
Yeah, man, I turned 25 in August, so
So when did you
know,
start training?
I really started when I was 16, dude. I always wanted to do it when I was younger, but
So 9 years.
is how long I've been doing it.
Yeah, so you've invested more time in
Yeah, it's
education than you have in fighting.
that's fair, not by choice.
Right. So you sit here and talk about like how fucking dedicated you are and how much you've invested in it. And it's like, really, have you invested so much of your life where you can't have a life after fighting?
Oh, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, this isn't. I didn't put all my eggs
So
in one basket.
so what is your goal? I mean, what do you want to see come from fighting? And then when that's over, what are your
Well,
plans?
you want me to be 100% honest with you? Like, I already feel like I've succeeded, and I'm by no means done with what I've done. I'm not. I'm
But
not
everything else is
satisfied.
just a benefit. You wanted to get to the UFC and win a fight, and now everything else is just
Well,
something
like
amazing that continues. Or
exactly, man. I'm happy. I'm a happy person. I'm internally happy, and success, the definition of it really differs from person to person. Everybody has internally their own definition of what succeeding and what success are. I put a lot of limitations and pressures on myself to succeed, to live up to all these things, but like I don't have to make anybody happy but myself, and I am. So there are no limitations. There are no pressures to succeed. So the goal, dude, I've reached the goal. I'm on top of the world. Anything else from here on out is bonus, and I'm loving it, man. I don't take anything for granted. I don't take anything serious, and I'm just living in the moment, enjoying. I spend too much time worrying about outcomes of things and outcome of fights and fear, afraid of what could happen in my life instead of focusing on what is happening in my life and what's going on. Fear is an illusion. I'm not afraid of anything. I wasn't afraid of the outcome of Paulo Tiago. I was focused on preparing for Paulo Tiago, and I've matured, man, and I'm stepping it up.
when did your brain change like that? At what point did it
Since I
did it
discovered
switch?
this new supplement,
It had
Oh,
it,
oh, really? So it's been in like the last like 6 to 8 months.
I had an epiphany.
I was just asking when. I said, was this, did you feel like this during the Sean
Dude,
Pearson
one night I
fight?
was listening to some Van Halen. I lit some candles and an incense, and it was like this magical experience. And I just
Fucking
realized, like,
drank
I,
some ayahuasca tea and you
I,
communed with the
I, like,
fucking everywhere spirit.
I stepped back and looked at myself subjectively, and I matured.
Objectively,
I
not to
matured.
correct you.
Hey,
Objectively.
suck me dry, and I learned. I learned, man.
hey, well, it had to have been odd. I mean, whatever. At the age of 22, you accomplished what some talented 27, 29-year-old guys are still
No doubt.
trying to get. You know,
Hot
And
pussy.
and
Wait,
I see these guys. I see these guys breaking their backs and busting their ass and all to get a piece of what I got, and they're so much older than me. And it
right?
makes me really appreciate what I have. And I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for anyone, but it's like, damn, man. Like,
Like
I
teammates
mean,
of yours. I
I'll be
mean,
honest, dude. It would be really hard for me. I'm not gonna say if I was out of the UFC tomorrow, I'd quit fighting. But how do you go back justify fighting for takeable scraps after you've done it to the extreme of the extreme for that amount of pay? How do
right?
you? It's not all about the money. Here we go, fucking people with that. It's not all about the money. But let's be real. How do you
Who,
justify?
who does their job for free?
Right. If you're good at something, don't do it for free. But how do I justify as a human being going back to doing that stuff for table scraps, man? I can't. And it's almost like accepting defeat and failure. And I can't show my face. I couldn't show my face around the local St. Louis, St. Charles MMA scene, most likely, to be quite honest, if I wasn't in the situation I'm in currently. But I have no intentions to go anywhere. But a lot of that's not totally in my hands.
Is it one of these situations? I mean, you're at that what you talked about before. Fighting for your career. You're at this
Mhm.
juncture. With the two losses and that dreaded third loss that everybody talks about.
Yeah, man, I had this conversation.
Unless you're British.
I had this conversation with Justin Lawrence when I was out in California, and he was nice enough to let me stay at his place while I was doing some training out there with Ellenberger and such. And him and I sat there and had this conversation one night over some Call of Duty, and we were talking about the rise to this extreme. Our power's about to go out, which our router's probably going to go out, and we're probably going to lose you. The lights are flickering. Now I lost my train of thought.
You
But
were
we
playing
talked-
Call of
we
Duty,
talked-
and you
we
were
talked
talking.
about this. We talked about the extreme pressures of rising so quickly to the pinnacle of your sport.
Yeah.
And Justin has a unique perspective of it himself, having done so much kickboxing and boxing matches growing up. And we talked about it, man, and how it's not what people think, man. People think you're fighting on TV, you're rich, you're living this great life, you're banging hot broads. But I'm telling you, it's not always what it seems. And I'm not complaining. By no means am I saying, hey, feel sorry for myself and stay in school, kids. I got a great life, but I've worked for it. But I'm just telling you that it's not what people think.
Well, and now he's dealing with that. Now he's got to.
Yeah.
He's coming. He
Yeah,
got.
man.
Which
I
that's
wanna
got to
call
be
it
tough
that.
for him.
Yeah, and I think hopefully his vision of success or definition of success is somewhat similar to mine. But I need to talk to him. I need to call that guy. I need to find out where he's at, if he's back in Missouri, and him and I need to talk. Because to be honest, man, he would hit the ground running. He was such a big thing so quick. And I mean, that has to take some sort of toll on your brain, your mental. I have to think that because I know it has mine, definitely. So his was so quick.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, his first couple of pro fights, he couldn't even get into his own after party. That's how young he was.
So right, so I mean, I gotta talk to him because we had that conversation. And be quite honest, I felt like maybe the roles would have been reversed for before. I'd be in his situation now, and he'd be in mine or something. Like you never know. And I mean, I wish the best for him. He's a talented guy. I'm sure he'll find a home somewhere, and hopefully he's happy. And if he never wants to fight again, who gives a fuck? I mean, he's gonna have, I'm sure, a future, as would I, whether I step inside and fight or not.
Well, that's an interesting thought process. That I mean, you're setting up. You have your bar set at UFC, and now that you're there, I mean, you said everything's just awesome after this. Everything's bonus.
Dude, I won. I
Yeah.
wanted to win that first fight too. I wanted to win that first fight. That mattered more than anything to prove that I was not a fluke, that I belonged, and I did that.
It's why people get married and have kids and shit like that. Everybody's just looking for something to do,
That's it, man. That's
you
it.
you got something to do that doesn't bother you. You fucking made it to the UFC. Now what? The only thing left to do, man, is fucking mass suicide.
Chase
And
the
I'm
belt.
doing it. Right after I commit mass homicide.
Mass homicide, then mass suicide.
Y'all heard
Nice.
All right.
That wasn't recorded, was it?
Yes, it definitely was recorded.
Fuck, man. We gotta edit it now.
Sunshine and rainbows at KJ
We gotta
Live.
edit it. Yeah, I know. Hey, it's that time though. Kids are in bed, right?
We don't edit shit around here, man. It's out live.
I gotta let everybody know today I had to go to an elementary school, Central Elementary School in St. Charles, and I'm going to be working and pairing up with a new sponsorship known as the Crider organization, and they're in schools all around the area, and I'm going to be talking to. I'm going to be the spokesperson for this organization for an anti-bullying campaign. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm excited to be able to have a opportunity like that, a privilege to have a positive impact on people's life.
Oh, I know. It's great. If they would have just contacted Lance when he was in high school, it would have been, it's like, hey, how do you not get bullied in high school? And Lance's response are you basically like, just seem really fucking scary and no assholes will go after you at that
It
point.
works.
That's what it was. I mean, Lance was not a bully by any means. Lance
Nah.
was actually a really nice guy,
Yeah.
but everybody just kind of steered clear of him because they thought that he wasn't a nice guy.
Yeah, my brother and I had a nasty reputation for some reason. I don't know why we had a reputation, but we did, and they
You
did.
guys never bullied anybody. You're
No,
not bullies. You just didn't
got
put up with
along.
shit. You
I
didn't
got
put up
along with a
shit.
lot of
That's it.
people.
Yeah. That's cool though, man. I'm really proud of you that you're out there
Yeah, that's great.
doing that kind of that kind of work right there. Hopefully
Yeah,
that
you know what surprised me most about the whole experience though was like the loops I had to jump through just to even get into the school. I mean, I know this is 2013, but it wasn't that long ago. I was in high school and shit has changed so much and I get it, I understand it, but they kind of treated me like I was a fucking criminal walking in there and I didn't even have my tattoos, but I know that's the fucking society and day and age we live in. But I was like, they're like, I couldn't even observe the program today. I was going to observe another lady teach the anti-bullying to a class, and I couldn't observe it because the school didn't have a fucking background check on me. Man,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
yeah, man.
well, I know parents. I bet all the parents out there are kind of like, I would rather
oh, I
everybody have a
get it,
background
man.
check
Hey, I'd rather
than
people.
everything. Because you're a really nice guy, and that you would actually be the one to run out there and actually protect or help somebody.
Yeah,
You would be
right?
the good Samaritan to save somebody's life. But not everybody's like that. So I can understand that they do want a background check.
And
My
I'm not a
issue here
parent.
is, what are they teaching with this anti-bullying? What is their? I mean, I don't want to shit on their program or anything like that, but here's my issue, and here's the issue that we ran an anti-rape campaign at K-State. It basically broke it down to this. Okay, there was a big sign that was their marketing tool. This is before they got me and Joe Welk and Dave Durnell and some of the other people that were like combatives guys to get involved. They had this picture or the poster that they would put all over campus that said, "Rapists are wolves in sheep clothing." Well, my buddy Dave goes in there, and this really militant lesbian steps up and goes, "Well, what are you going to do about safety of women on campus?" Because he was, lobbying for a combatives program, a civilian-based combatives program at K-State. And he looked at him and he said, "Listen, you say that rapists are wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, all I see around here are a bunch of fucking sheep trying to solve that problem. If you ask a sheep how to deal with a wolf, you'll never get an answer. What you need is a fucking, what do you call it, like a sheepdog or a wolfhound. That's how you take care of a wolf. And right now, that's what you've done. You've brought a bunch of, badass sheepdogs in to handle the wolves. You've brought the pit bulls in to handle the wolves. And that's what you do. And that's what you need to do, is teach kids how to be confident and be strong. So the wolf, and this is all metaphor. We're not talking about actually fighting or anything. This is metaphor. You need to teach kids how to be confident and strong so that they're not weak sheep. They themselves are then sheepdogs. But all the fucking theater exercises that they have these fucking people do, and all the pretend fucking, like examples of what they should fucking do, is not going to give. That's all false confidence. That's all bullshit, and it doesn't fucking work. And they can, oh, well, statistically, we've seen blah, 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 blah. Those are fucking crook statistics. I guarantee you, for every kid that does theater exercises on how to be a confident human being, there's fucking 10 bullies out there waiting to kick his fucking ass and take his money. The way to stop bullying is standing up for yourself. Now, I'm not saying fighting. And you can't develop confidence in children unless you slowly build them up. This is not something that they learn in fucking a 20-minute conversation with some random fucking person. Okay. The reason I keep bringing up theater exercises is because they do bullshit like that. So it's not something. It's something that you slowly build them up from. Now, you can't take your kids and go, I'm going to throw them in wrestling and I'm going to be super fucking hard on them, because all you're going to do is break your kid. You're going to break him. You're going to mentally break him. You can't do that. You have to slowly. You can't focus. You don't even really focus a lot on competitions, but you get them in there. You get them mixing up. You get them learning how to do this stuff, and you build them up slowly, progressively. Which is why competitive sports are very good for kids. It helps them develop. It helps them build confidence, and it helps them become strong.
Minky, do you remember freaking bullying being this big an issue when we were freaking young? Like when we were in high school and grade school, was it this big an issue? Because I never noticed it. And I don't know if it was And I got picked on, but I didn't never run to a teacher. I mean, you just dealt with the
Oh,
bully.
right, yeah. Bullying was an issue when we were in grade school too. But the answer was okay. In extreme circumstances, you sat down and talked to the kids, and it was like, hey, you stay away from that person. If you keep messing with them, we're gonna bury your ass. And that was kind of like, hey, do you want to do another year of sixth grade? And people are like, oh shit, I better leave that kid alone.
Yeah.
So. But now there's not really a lot of repercussions to behavior. So the only so aggressive behavior is rewarded with more people cheering it on. A lot of this has to do with social media too. You've got all the kids and they're texting and
Now you got to worry about cyberbullying these days.
Yeah, and all their Facebook pages. So there's a lot of different levels of this kind of crap. Honestly, if wrestling was a regular program in gym and boxing was regularly taught in gym, I'm not saying let them spar or anything like that, but you would have a boxing team through the high school, or have and I'll just give a wrestling team through high school with that kind of stuff. I think you would see a lot of stuff evened out, which is why again you don't see you've got you've got two fighters and a guy who wishes he was a fighter sitting right here, and none of us go out there and cause problems. None of us want to be a bad guy. It actually, and you guys, I mean, you got to back me up on this. When you see people get bullied, or when you see weak people out there, at a point you're kind of like, I'm a little disgusted, but at the same time, I feel terrible because that person was never put in a situation or an environment where they could learn how to do this. Because, like, not all of us are natural. I don't know if Lance is natural or not. I don't know if he would say that he's naturally a tough, hard person. I am not. I had to develop this completely, as a cerebral kind of thing. My reaction when people get mad is to cower. And I had to take that step and mentally say, okay, no, you have to stand your ground, or else the wolves are going to attack. And I'm sure it was probably the same way. I mean, Dan doesn't seem like a naturally aggressive human being. It was something that he had to say, okay, I have to do this. And so kids never being in the position to develop those skill sets, all it does is turn them into fucking chum for the next shark to come by and chew them up. They're not fucking preparing their kids for life, because there's no participation medals in real life.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And I mean, I'm not a big guy by any means, so I definitely got the bullies come to mess with you. And you just had to, and I moved around a lot, so I got fucked with a lot. So you pretty much have to force yourself to go, well, screw it. I'm just going to go fight this guy, and maybe I'll win, maybe I'll lose, but the next guy won't mess with me. And that's what these kids really don't have, it seems like. They don't have the, well, screw it. You're going to get punched in the face, but you're not going to get screwed with the entire year. So,
well, okay, and here's my issue. Kids are taught that whatever they are is important, and you're unique, and you're special, and you're great for whatever you are. Let me tell you, here's an issue. If your kid is fucking weak and he's a target for other people, something is wrong. It doesn't make him a bad person, but it's something that you guys need to work on as parents to encourage him, make him stronger, make him be able to take care of himself. Because when he's fucking older, and he's faced with real world situations, he's not going to be able to handle the issues. Now, I don't even know how to handle, like, for girls. They're that fucking drama is just a completely different thing. It's like, because you can't say, okay, honey, you got to stand your ground and punch that cunt in the face. It's not going to happen.
Well, you can.
I mean, yeah, it'd probably be good. I guess that's what that's the approach Mike Green's taken. He's turned his daughter into a little badass.
Oh, hey, let's give Mike Green a shout out to turning professional.
How about that?
We did that last week, asshole. If you actually watched the show, you would know.
Oh, fuck, man. I was probably playing. Dude, I got a broken leg.
So you can't get on the computer?
Dude, my leg's broke.
Well, we're kind of rounding third here.
Can we talk about Annihilation for a second? Shamrock's promotion, real quick. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Something that I wanted to throw a shout out to Malcolm Smith. and tell him that all of us, and I know I can speak for everybody on this, at Knuckle Junkies are really, really sorry that you were unable to fight because your opponent came in 17 pounds overweight. That is terrible, and you only get so many of those big cuts like that. Malcolm cuts weight, and I mean, what's he going to have to make 55, maybe 30 times in his life? And this opponent robbed him of one of those times, and I think that's terrible. And our sincerest apologies go out to you, and I wish you the best. I wish you the best of luck in your next fight. So it's something I did want to throw out. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you call him? The Caramel Nightmare?
The Caramel Nightmare. That is terrible, man. That's as terrible as Lance in your pants. Which, by the way, those creator people, John, Googled me to make sure there wasn't any sort of negative publicity out there on me that could come back on there. And they're like, we did watch one interview with you where they called you in your pants. And I was like, oh, about that. Well, you might want to know who started all that shit. And I'm sorry, it's an inside joke. And the ring announcer's Tony Biondo, who's in on it, and they all knew it. And he was doing the interview, and I'm like, fuck.
Right. So it has nothing to do with your ridiculous fucking Facebook posts that bring infinitely more heat than some shit that I said almost 10 years ago when I called you Lance in your pants Benoist. And I had you announced as that.
I don't speak often, but when I do, you better listen up. Oh, hey, Shane. What's up, man?
Get Shane to come over and beatbox.
No, dude. I already tried playing music. You wouldn't fucking let me, so you can just suck it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that Lance is quite the accomplished drummer.
/ semi-piano player / semi-bass player.
That's right.
And I do like to play drums. And Brett, don't be so modest. You're a pretty talented musician yourself, and we need to tell folks if they're curious to see me play drums, to come check us out in June for Mike Rogers' 40th birthday party at the Tilted Kilt. I'll be playing drums. Andrew El Dirty Sanchez will be on guitar, and Brett hopefully on bass. It should be a pretty wild, good, fun, freaky, sexy time.
Yeah, we lost our. So that's the team band.
I'm gonna put
by the way,
a
that's
sock
something.
over my pecker when I play that.
Yeah, he's going Red Hot Chili Pecker style.
Speaking of 40th birthdays, today is Steve Berger's.
Steve Berger's,
birthday,
yeah.
so
Oh wow!
Wish him a happy birthday.
Yeah, let's all sing happy birthday to Steve on 3. Ready? Happy birthday to you.
Wait, you said 3.
Yeah.
Hey, I was singing, asshole. Don't interrupt me, man. That's rude to fucking Steve. Say you're sorry to Steve.
Steve, I'm very sorry for all of this. All
right, we'll reconvene on 3. 1, 2. Happy birthday.
Steve doesn't know how to use a computer, so.
Oh yeah, we're not worried about that. That's why his wife handles all the social media stuff. And
who is what, 27, 28? She's young, and Steve still looks like an Abercrombie and Fitch model at fucking 40. Dude looks younger than me. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, dude. I've been dealing with that bullshit for 15 years now.
Shelby Bunny wants me to ask you. Chris Heatherly wants me to ask you if you want a piece, Minky.
Of him?
He's joking, but yeah.
Look at John. He got all offensive, dude. John got all serious. He's like, "Are you fucking serious?"
No. Hold on. Let me throw my joke. Hey, Heatherly, why can't you find somebody better from your gym to come fuck with me? I don't need to fuck around with the little 170ers and fucking 55ers and shit like that, man. So I'm a fucking heavyweight, man. People pay to watch us fight.
Hey, John is a bully who we just heard talk about the bullying campaign. How about that for ironic, folks?
No, I got bullied really, really bad because I was a weak punk.
Is that
I let people fucking punk me. And so the way that I work with kids now is I don't push kids really hard. We have fun and we grow together. And I challenge them, but I show them the value of hard work and knowing that yes, they are great. Every one of them's fucking great, and I love every one of them, and I'm proud of them. But there's still certain things that they have to do, and they have to grow. So I try to be a pretty good balance. I don't know. I think one of these days,
dude,
I'm gonna steal somebody's kid and see if I can't raise them right.
You should be a fucking politician, bro, because I don't buy that for a
dude. With
second.
all the shit that I've done, I need to be a politician.
You are talking out your fucking ass right now. You are a cocksucker. You are very mean. Chris Heatherly, stay away from Jon Menke. He will choke you unconscious when you're a child, like he did me. I probably have brain damage from Jon Menke. Stay away
It
from that
certainly
motherfucker.
seems like it. Yeah. So you're gonna sit there and you're gonna talk shit about me. I'm sorry. You were like the beta test on how to go work with. I was only like 22. You were like 17. Is that how it was?
Yeah, I was a child. You were a young man beating the
pretty-
fuck
I'm
out of me.
I'm pretty sure if you committed some terrible hate crime, you would have been tried as an adult. So
Fair enough.
Does anybody have anything else for Lance or anything else we want to throw up before we tie a ribbon or tie a bow on the end of episode number 4? We've done this for a month now.
Man, where have I been? I don't know. I thought I was the first guest. You guys lied to me. That's the only reason I'm on here, because I want to be the first guest ever, the first show. You guys got me all excited.
no, we got a good 170 or Chris Heatherly as our first guest.
Hey, don't toy with my emotions, you fucks. I have real
Chris
feelings.
Heatherly's taking your he's taking your contract and then he's taking your girl.
Hey, I hope he does. Well, not my old girl.
That actually would be like a good fucking. That sounds like a Mike Green T-shirt right there. Mike Green taking your title, then taking your girl. That seems like some shit on a shirt that he would wear.
Kicking your ass and taking your girlfriend home.
Kicking your ass and taking your girlfriend.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the last thing I want to say is I am a Chris Heatherly fan. I really am. I fucking am. I like watching the guy fight. I really hope that he doesn't think ill. I fucking like the guy, and I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I want to say in my best EJ voice, hey everybody, please check out my Facebook page. Add me on Twitter. I had to do it. EJ's gonna be mad at me. Okay, yeah. Hey, hey everybody. I don't want to say this, but UFC makes me, and somebody's gonna come out of the closet and shoot me if I don't say it. So everybody, please add me on Twitter. It's 666 666.
Is Lance wearing pants?
Yeah.
No, man, he hasn't been fucking wearing pants.
I'm starting a new trend, man. I'm starting the spandex trend, man.
You bringing them back?
Yeah, I am. I'm telling you, I go into public like this, man, but I don't even care because I've worked hard to sexify my quadriceps, and I believe in them, man.
His obsession with his quads are ridiculous.
I like squats, man.
What are you doing? What are you doing about that fucking stomach you're carrying around now?
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I wanted to fall off the wagon and carry a stomach around, but I haven't, bro. I've been I eat kale.
Oh, so you and Joe Rogan are down with each other.
Oh wait, no, who's Joe Rogan?
He's that guy who interviewed you once before.
Oh yeah, well,
but only once.
I forgot what it's like to fucking win. I haven't seen Joe Rogan in a while, man. I need to maybe do that sometime within the next fucking year. Win a fight. What do you say, Chris Heatherly? God damn it. I'm just joking. I'm not even upset, bro. I'm not even upset, man. I'm not hurt about it at all. I'm not butt sore. Fuck, man.
Speaking of butt sore, clearly you are butt sore.
No, man. Shane's in the shower. Tommy's not here. You guys need to have that fucking dude on the show, man. That's fun.
Yeah, before Tommy goes, he needs to get on here and just do impersonations of everybody.
I'm telling you, you guys got to have him at least one show. He's a funny motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, another thing I was supposed to say is that last week when Cooper kind of alluded to people like sanctioning their own events and things like that, and I threw out the Doniker Finney thing because I thought that's what he was talking about. I was like, hey, dude, if you're going to allude to something, let's just say it. But I wanted to clear things up. At first, I think that might have been what was going on, but that was years ago. Since then, Shamrock Promotions has been using Tony Tallarico out of Illinois for their ISK rep for a while now. So I don't want any misinformation to go out there. I think that for all the faults and fighting and disagreements and stuff like that, I think Shamrock has an excellent production value. I'll be happy to see when they can get a little bit more money where we can start seeing some higher level fights. I would like to see a slow grow. Honestly, if we could jam Shamrock and Jim Jenkins together, which of course that would basically be like fucking mustard gas. That would be ammonia and bleach. But if Jim Jenkins could handle all of the fighter interactions and then let Jesse do the politicking and production value of stuff, I think we would have a hell of a show.
Hard to argue with that.
It'd be awesome, but it ain't ever gonna happen in my opinion. Is Lance getting ready to take a shit on camera?
No. He's in his drumming room.
Ah. Well, it's nice to know that I wasn't the only one that wasn't wearing pants today.
Lance, you want to take us
That's
out?
2
with
weeks in a
drum
row.
solo?
It's 2 weeks. I'm gonna do it every time. It's weird for me to be at a computer and have pants on.
Yeah, that's a great way to end the show. Oh, Leo Lerner had a fight this week too, did he?
Yes, sir. There was some pretty interesting shit going on. We had the kids fight. We have like a Duncan who's like 4, and he went, which is pretty impressive.
We'll hit it next week if Lance is going to take us out.
Lance, take us out with some John Bonham shit, man.
Dude, I don't know what to play.
Just fucking rip.
Rush Neil Peart.